In progress.
Yay, welcome, welcome, welcome to Planetary Encodement's August 5th, 2024. My name is Ray Ellen Sievert, and I'm from Light Body Academy. I'm the astrologer there, and I previously said I was an eclectic astrologer because I kind of combined all modalities together, but I am discovering that I am starting to move into quantum astrology, and we want to know what quantum astrology is.
Yep.
This was the hope. This was the inspiration of Laurel and her star guides, and Sasquatch. She, you know. Oh, and I guess everybody has to go on mute. Thank you, Sherry. Uh, Here, let me get this together. Here, there we go. So, what is quantum astrology? Just recently, last Thursday, of course, when Christina did her Thursday chats, she talked about having downloads. And when you have these downloads, it takes you time to assimilate. So I'm going to tell a little bit about my story. A year ago in 2023, we were doing a HAL. We were all participating in a program called HAL, Healing Acceleration Program. That's what we were in. So we started talking about star seeds, and I was reading a book by this woman who came up with all these numbers about what star seeds were, and I realized that she was utilizing Vedic astrology. Now I'm going to get into a little definition about what Vedic is, and I did this last time, but I think it's important that I do it a couple times. So, because astrology is a foreign language to many people, you know some keywords, and you probably know your sun sign and maybe your moon sign and maybe your ascendant, a little bit about your chart, but it's all about keywords. It's to make it really simple. You just take, certain signs and use keywords, and it kind of describes the person. Except when you go out to dinner with an astrologer and you speak in astrological symbology the whole time. And anybody who else is sitting there that doesn't know what you're talking about, it's kind of crazy. But anyway, that said, I was introduced to Vedic astrology, and I knew about Vedic astrology because it's a little bit different than tropical Western astrology. Now we'll define that first. Tropical Western astrology was kind of formulated probably 200 AD. And I think that they wanted to systematically put the sun signs all in equal order, and they based it all on the seasons. So Aries was the beginning, which was the Aries energy, was the spring equinox. And then you have in between that was all about the spring equinox. Cancer was the summer solstice. Libra was the fall equinox, and there's like signs in between there that will encompass the fall energy, and then you have the winter solstice, and they put each sign in 30 equal degrees. Well, that was good, and then they formulated all that, but in my opinion, only in the last year, I'm finding out that these are constructed programs to put people in boxes, so to speak. So going back to a year ago when I started taking lessons about Vedic astrology, and I am by no means a real Vedic astrologer because it's very, very complicated. And each of the signs are divided into divisions called nakshatras, and they're based on the lunar year, the lunar calendar. So each nakshatra is I'm not sure. Like each sign has like 3 nakshatras in it. So like if you're an Aries, there's 3 versions of what kind of Aries you are. If you're a Gemini, there's 3 versions of that. And then each of them are ruled by certain signs. But that said, The difference between Western astrology and Vedic astrology is that all the signs are moved back 23 degrees. And that probably means nothing to the average person, but it makes a difference when you are born at the beginning. So you say you're born on May 21st, which is the first degree of Gemini, so to speak. But if you were, that's Western astrology. And if you were in Vedic astrology, you wouldn't be a Gemini, you would be a Taurus. So again, it's divided into equal 30 degrees of each sign. So earlier this year, for some reason, I think I was listening to Z Earth Star about something, and she kept on referring to true sky sidereal astrology. And so I did a little research on it, and I found out that these true sky sidereal astrologers have little applications on their phone where they'll, if you are in a particular day, they take a picture of the sky and it will show that you are in a particular constellation. And again, it's approximately 23 degrees, but not quite. Each of the signs are not divided in equal 30 degrees. Some constellations are bigger and some are smaller. So, like Aries is one of the smaller constellations. Scorpio is one of the smaller constellations. And in True Sky Sidereal, they have a 13th sign called Ophiuchus. And that's only like 12 degrees. So, why is this all important? Well, when I discovered True Sky astrology, I thought, oh my God, everything in the world is a lie, and everything I have learned doesn't matter anymore. And I wanted to throw everything I learned, which has been like since God, the early 70s, out the window and go strictly to True Sky astrology. That was the only way, because that was the truth. Well, after I assimilated it for a while, I found out that each system is valid and each of them have their purpose in our life. For instance, the people that understand Western tropical astrology, which is kind of like the well known in the Western world, it's when you look up your little book saying, I am a Aries, or I am a Scorpio, or I am a Pisces. And you'll read about it and it seems to fit, and they have certain qualities. What does fit? Because over the last 2,000 years, that program has been embedded in our biosuit. So that program of being an Aries, being a Taurus, being a Gemini is embedded in our biosuit. So we relate to that. But I'm finding out it is more on a mundane level, although there is a version called esoteric astrology where it goes in another way. It's a whole new version of Western astrology and giving it a deeper meaning and all that, which I also integrate within this. So that said, I thought, well, where does Western astrology fit? And I just realized that it's our conditioned behavior. It's what we have been told to do. It's kind of what I think the elite class, or those classes that have us tricked into believing that it's the only and real way, this is our behavior. Well, that's not so, because we are finding out there are deeper layers to ourselves that we are discovering all the time. So I said, okay, well, Western astrology is our conditioned programs. And it doesn't have to be mundane, but it's going to have deeper meanings depending on what astrologer is reading your chart in Western astrology. And if you go to a Western astrologer, they might come up with accurate information. So then I said, well, where does the Vedic astrology fit in? And I really feel it's more of your soul's purpose. It's where you start connecting with your star seed origins. It's a little bit more accurate into getting more in-depth understanding of yourself. And I can't profess to know, even though I studied Vedic astrology, I am not a Vedic astrologer all the way. I know how to apply it and integrate it into my readings. And by the way, just as we're talking about this in the chat, I also put my okay, Joe. Okay, I just put up the chat so I can read. I put my if you want to book a private consultation with me, it's in the top box there. So if you're interested in doing that, because I talk about astrology, but I get more in depth when we have a one-to-one conversation about your your planetary energies.
Raylan,
Yes,
I don't see your maybe hit enter or
it's there. Oh, it's not?
no, none of us see it.
Joe's right. Oh, new messages. Okay, let's try this again. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna go off for a minute here. I'm learning how to do this, everybody. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay. Okay, let's see if we can do it. Let's see if I did it and remembered. If Sherry was a good teacher or if I was a good student, huh? Yeah, I did it. Technology is not my strong point, and I'm learning little by little. I blame it on my age, but that's no excuse because people my age have to learn something all new all the time. But anyway, so I am finding out that kind of like Vedic astrology really relates to your star seed origins. And even though we are in this human biosuit, we're a combination of all different star systems that have come to Earth, left Earth, visiting Earth now, are in inner Earth or above the Earth, and all that. I mean, they have seeded our biosuits with their particular energy patterns. And each of us have a combination of those star seed origins within us that give us a deeper perspective in how to view the world around us, especially people like you out there that are way showers. And you're opening up to that DNA patterns within you that have been dormant for a very, very, very long time. So I'm finding out that that is congruent with true sky and Vedic sidereal astrology. And now we have true sky sidereal astrology, and it's where the actual constellations are in this moment. So in true sky, just as of today, we've had a new moon in Cancer, but pretty soon the sun in true sky is going to traverse into Leo. And astrologically, if you go to Western astrology, that doesn't happen until, let's see, that happened, let me see. Oh, I had that. Here it is. Um, it entered Cancer. I mean, it entered Leo a while ago. I mean, we are way into Leo, but the new, oh, that's it. I now I got mixed up for a minute. It's that Mercury retrograde again, which I'm going to I because I combined them all together, I was already combining them in my mind. So we are in the sign of Leo now, but in true sky astrology, and the new moon that we just had yesterday was in Leo. But in true sky Vedic sidereal astrology, it was in Cancer. And the sun just moved into Leo, but the sun moved in Leo in Vedic, in True Sky astrology, no, Western astrology on the 22nd of July. And this is already August 5th. I know this is all complicated. I think I'm just talking to myself. Whatever. So that said, we had a new moon yesterday. And this is what I did. The new moon in True Sky sidereal astrology was in the sign of Cancer. But in Western astrology, it was in Leo. So what I have learned to do is I combined all that together. And what does that mean? It means that for the next 28 days or 29 days, we are going to be embracing our emotions and our feelings and going into creating a protective environment around us. This is where True Sky astrology is. And the last new moon, which started the last session, we all started a process of using the breath, and it was all in Gemini. So we have been using the breath for the last month or so because the new moon was in Gemini last month. And we started on a 30-day program of, you know, of to embracing the 5 sacred breaths. And it was all about Gemini. Gemini rules the breath. So the next month ahead of us, we are going to, the new moon sets the tone for the month. So that said, in True Sky astrology, it was in Cancer. So it's on a very deep level. We are going to get in touch with the deepest foundations of who we are. Not only it's ruled by the mother, and what's happening on August 18th. Stacy's doing a lab about the mother lineage. So that class is totally in line with this new moon energy in Cancer. It takes us to what is our security blanket? Where are we nurturing ourselves? How are we looking at our past emotions to develop feelings? Emotions are programs that we have not, that we keep running over and over and over again. And when we get in touch with that program and what those emotions are, it brings us to a higher level of feeling, joy, love, compassion. So this month, we have the ability to dive very, very, very deep down inside of ourselves to nurture ourselves, to get in touch with our matter, our mother, that the lineages that have conditioned our bodies. But that said, in Western astrology, the new moon was in Leo. And what is Leo? It's about self-expression. It's about love, it's passion, creativity. So we have the capacity on a different level to creatively go inside of ourself and understand how we can create from a deep layer of ourself. We're connecting with our hearts to find out that we want to understand a deeper level of who we are. Sky, she brought up this Lionsgate. I knew someone was going to bring that up, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that, but I honestly don't know about the Lionsgate too much. So I hope that gives you understanding what the new moon is. So it will give you a catalyst to put a plan in place on a very deep, soul, purposeful level getting in touch with your mother's lineage, the matter that has conditioned your body, getting in touch with past emotions, is laying the foundation to how you can creatively come forth from your heart center. That is what this month is going to bring forth. Now, there's another aspect that Sky brought up about the Lion's Gate. That's 8/8. It's August 8th. And it's a portal that opens up every year. And honestly, I have to say I don't know much about it. And in fact, I did a little research just to because I knew that somebody would bring it up. But 8/8, I think, really relies more on numerology. And I know that Stacy knows a lot about the 8 energy for numerology, but 8/8 is about that particular energy pattern. But what I talked to another astrologer and she told me a little bit about Lion's Gate. And apparently, every year, the star, which is our sister star, Sirius, kind of like goes below the horizon and we don't see it for a few months. And at 8/8, it comes above the horizon so that a particular time in night we will be able to see the fixed star Sirius. And so I was thinking about this, and then it also aligns with the sun and Orion's belt and the Great Pyramid. This is what I know. So I'm giving you the little bit of information that I do know. But I thought about that because in bringing in Christina's Thursday chat, when she started talking about the Orion Wars, I thought, well, this is interesting. She happens to be bringing up the Orion Wars and the Orion energy the same time that Lion's Gate is opening. And Sirius is supposed to align with that. So I thought to myself, Sirius, the Sirian energy, the starseed energy with Sirian is all about our blueprint body, our light body blueprint. So maybe we are getting in touch with a layer of ourself so we can transform within ourselves what the Orion Wars were about. And basically, it was a war about technology versus a way of the mystery schools. So I guess you have to combine that together. And I'm thinking that we have a chance to, through this new moon energy, going deep within ourselves to find out how we want to creatively, through our heart, change our blueprint body. So that's what I'm thinking this Lionsgate energy portal is. There are probably a few of you out there that know more about it than I do. But the 8 in numerology is our relationship to money and power. Well, that's interesting too. So this gate energy is where is our value system? How do we use our value system to traverse this world? Do we manipulate? Or are we generous with our money? Are generous with our power? And money is not just actually literal money. It's the gifts that we have within ourselves to share with each other. So Lionsgate could be all about sharing our resources. Or maybe somebody has resources that maybe we have, and they have resources that we need. It's interacting and sharing, co-sharing what our resources are. What is your strong point and what is my strong point? And you have a conversation about that and say, well, I can help you through this if you help me through that. It's using our generosity, our value system, our self-worth, which we're going to be talking about a little bit more coming up because that's Uranian energy that's coming up. So far, does anybody have any response to what I've been saying? I know I've been talking away here. Have you noticed any of these thoughts going through your head at all? Maybe, maybe not. It's all food for thought. It's a new moon. It's a new beginning. All I know is the last new moon in Gemini really brought forth a new way of communicating through me through the sacred breaths. And it was very, very valuable that last new moon that we were in. So let's kind of go with in this particular week, astrologically, it's kind of like a quiet week, but in a bigger scope of things, kind of piggybacking off of what we talked about last month. We talked about Neptune at the 29th degree of Pisces, and also just going retrograde as we were talking. We'll talk, well, first I'm going to define retrograde motion so that we can understand it a little bit more. We have the sun, and we have Mercury going around the sun, and we have Venus orbiting around the sun. We have the Earth orbiting around the sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus. All of them are, but our Earth in relation to the sun is also relating to the planets that are going around the sun. So therefore, when Mercury is retrograde, it has an apparent backward motion. So our Earth seems to be speeding up, and it looks like Mercury is going in a backward motion. That's retrograde motion. It happens several times a year with Mercury. The way I describe that is all of us have been sitting at a traffic light, and a car next to us will go forward, and it looks like we're rolling backwards. Okay, well, that's retrograde motion. Now, that's Mercury, but what happens when Neptune goes retrograde? The Earth is in a position going around the sun, and it looks like Neptune, because of its big, long orbit around, at certain times of the year, it looks like it's going backwards because our Earth is going faster. It's going it looks like it's not really going faster, but it's kind of passing up that orbit of Neptune. So it looks like it's going backwards. So retrograde energy seems to many people have a challenging connotation. People don't like Mercury retrograde because it feels like everything goes awry. But retrograde motion is very, very, very beneficial. It's beneficial in the sense that it puts us in the mode of self-reflection. So Mercury in Western astrology was in Virgo. But in True Sky Sidereal astrology, it's in Leo. And so, therefore, Mercury going retrograde in Virgo and retrograding in Western astrology back into the sign of Leo means that this month we have the potential to get inside of ourselves, reflect on our day-to-day habits, reflect on the way we criticize or critique the world around us, reflect on how we take care of our health, reflect on, I have all these here, the way we take conversations in and assimilate it before we respond back. Because Mercury in Virgo is about digested communication. Gemini, Mercury rules Gemini, but Gemini is instantaneous communication. It's communication about what you have logged into your energy field. It's like what you have gathered from here and there and here and there. But Virgo is what about? It's about the digestion. So it's about the food we digest, the communication we digest, our relationships and our interactions with them. How do we interact with them and digest the way we relate to them? It's our energy field. How do we create a clean energy field around ourselves, which Laurel brings up in her essentials class? Mercury in Leo has to do with, we've been thinking about a project, something that we want to create, something that we want to bring forth. Then Mercury goes retrograde in Leo. And what we do is we go inside of our heart and say, is it what we really want to create? Or is it just a whim? Is it the truth of what we believe in? Are we expressing our essential nature? So Mercury in Virgo has its place, and Mercury in Leo in True Sky has its place. And what you do is you blend that together, and it gives you a whole new way of relating to the planets and what they are expressing to you. Mercury in Virgo is about impeccability. It's also about criticism. So when we are critical of ourselves or critical of other people, we're not being impeccable. We're not opening up to really listening what is being expressed. We already have a judgment about that. Mercury will be retrograde till about the 22nd of August. So these next days ahead of us is a time to go inward and think about what Mercury is expressing to you. And it's interesting, Stacy, you were talking about Mercury retrograde and your plans of flying to Spain were not, planned correctly. But I'm sure that the way you expressed it to the person you were talking to, it's the way you talk to her. I bet you talked to her in a really nice manner to get her through, because you were using your Virgoian way of expressing it, assimilating and putting yourself in her shoes. How does she feel? Well, I know I made the mistake, but can you help us through this? But it's the way you related to her. If you would have been, I did this wrong, you got to change this. She was going to have a whole different attitude about the whole thing.
Yeah. And she was lovely. But the day before it was a mess. So it took like 2 days though to, we had to kind of get through that retrograde energy to get to a point where she could listen. You know what I mean? And I could express it in a way that she would understand.
Yes. Yes. And so but you had to think about that. And I know you reflect a lot about the way you interact and communicate with people. That's part of your nature. I think you have a Virgo ascendant. So yes, that's right. You do have a Virgo ascendant in Western astrology and a Leo ascendant in True Sky astrology. So there's a part of you that's very dynamic, but there's a part of you that's always pulling things apart to see how it fits. I know a little bit about some people's charts. I mean, you know, because we've been interacting for a few years. So Sky says something, the 28th, I think, in Western. I'm not sure what what that means. Sky? Take yourself off mute, please. You're talking, Sky, and I can't hear you. Take yourself off mute.
I think she's trying.
Oh, she's trying. Okay.
I think she was talking about, if I'm not mistaken, the Mercury and Leo. You said until the 22nd, and is that what you were referring to?
Yeah, I did, and she said the 28th, but
I think that's what she was referring to.
yeah, the 28th. Oh, she's right. I don't know. For some reason, I thought it was the 23rd. I have something else happening on the 23rd, so there's my Mercury retrograde. I mixed up the dates. Oh gosh, whatever. Okay, so now, what else is retrograde? Pluto. Pluto's retrograde now. So the reason I'm talking about this, these are the transpersonal planets. What does transpersonal planets mean? Transpersonal means that they take a long time to go through a particular sign. So there's a whole generation that has one of the transpersonal planets in it. For instance, in Western astrology, I haven't figured it out in True Sky yet because I'm still learning to understand it. But in Western astrology, people born within a 7-year period with each other, Uranus is in the same degree. It takes Uranus 7 years to go through a sign. That's in Western astrology. It takes Neptune 14 years to go through a sign. So everybody born within a 14-year time period has Neptune. I mean, close in age. I mean, and then and Pluto takes anywhere from 20 years to 12 years to go through a particular sign. Because it's elliptic in its orbit around the sun. In fact, here's an interesting fact. Pluto was closer to Earth than Neptune from, I think, 1971 to 1998 or 1997 because of the elliptical orbit of Pluto. So Pluto was not the farthest planet from our sun, Neptune was, for that time period. Because of the way it travels. It has a it takes a long time to get through a sign, and sometimes it's very short on the ends of that elliptical movement. But anyway, Pluto is retrograde, and I'm not exactly sure when it went retrograde, but it's retrograde now all the way until I think the middle of October. It went retrograde. I'll tell you that. I have my little book here. May 2nd. Okay. So from May 2nd until October 11th, Pluto has been retrograde. Now I'm going to combine True Sky astrology and Western astrology. So Pluto in Western astrology was in the very, very first degree of Aquarius, okay? And a lot of astrologers thought this would be the beginning of really embracing the technological intelligence movement. But I'm finding out that that's not going to happen for me, and I can't go, I won't go into this right now, but probably for another 14 or 15 years. Because when Pluto enters Aquarius in true sky sidereal astrology, that will really, really be taking off. But that said, Pluto has just retrograded back into, is going to retrograde back into Capricorn. It was in Aquarius. And that's on September 2nd. And I know that, but the 29th degree of Capricorn is the last time it's going to pass over that. Is a very, very important degree. It's a critical degree. So it's going to be a time where we really look into seeing what we want to transform in the establishment. Pluto entered in Western astrology Capricorn in 2008, and that was a financial crisis that happened. But since then, all of the establishment, whether it is our government, education, financial, environmental, healthcare, medical, the food industry, the military, all of that has been in scrutiny since 2008. And now it's dipping back into Capricorn. And I think all of those issues from September till the middle of October are going to come forth full force. And we are going to get an idea of what is really broken and how we want to transform it. In true sky sidereal astrology, Pluto just entered Capricorn earlier this year. That said, what's it doing? It's taking it to a deeper level, and children are being born of this time period now. They are going to be the people, they are going to be the part of humanity that actually takes action to transform everything that has been broken. That is going to be their legacy. It kind of started in 2008, but the actual ones too. So we're seeing what's broken, and now we are going to see who is going to really be born and integrated enough so that it can be born anew. And there are many people that living off the grid that are having their own governmental systems. They're growing their own food. They're going into medical care that's nurturing and healing versus going into a medical system that gives you medicine that covers up what the true symptoms are. So all of these are being brought to the forefront, and we're going to see this from now until the middle of October. But in true sky astrology, Pluto dipped back into Sagittarius. What's Sagittarius all about? Sagittarius is about our belief system. So remember, true sky sidereal astrology to me is really the bottom line of where we are going to create this new world that is in progress right now. And right now, what we are going to establish, it's interesting. That's it. Well, you have that in you. That's interesting. Your parents were of that nature. So you have that conditioning in your body. Sky said she was born in a commune. What year were you born? You better type it in. Oh, she's just type it in.
I think she said 72. Is that right?
72 up. There we go. 72. Yes, that was a time period. 72. But anyway, in true sky astrology, Pluto, integrating all this together. So We know structures have to be changed. We know things are broken. But in this next month and a half, we are going to strive and go very deep and find out what is our inner truth. What do we want to create at a very deep level that will be the new belief system that we go forward with? We will come to terms with we're opening up to the truth that everything's broken. It's not a la-di-da, everything, I'm going to turn my head to this. We got to go inside of ourselves and bring forth what is our inner truth. In fact, actually, 2020 was a big breaking point of, are you going to follow the establishment or are you going to create your own truth? Pluto was in Capricorn, in Sagittarius then, in true sky astrology. So right now we're going to dip back into that and find out and embrace where we have to transform our lives to embrace that inner truth that is so essential to our nature. We're embracing that truth that feeds our authenticity, our essential nature. And all of us here, we don't have to be on the front line of changing all this. If you just change the way you buy your food, grow your food, take care of yourself in a healing sense. If you just take care of yourself, you are changing what's happening in the world around you. You're following your inner truth. Okay, so that's Pluto retro. Go on, Stacy.
So just to circle back for a minute, you said the last time Pluto was in retrograde was 2008 when the market crashed, correct?
Yes.
We lost everything in 2008 as a result of that. We are experiencing that same level of financial crisis, almost that same level now. And it's that those same feelings are coming up. But the difference is it feels like the universe has us. And I felt like the universe had us back then, but we still lost everything. We're not attached to losing things, but it feels like the difference is that we are really, really, really being called to look within and really see what we value and what we don't, and really hold the line. If that makes sense, like holding the line on what we value versus like, just don't emergency go rush out and get a job, but really hold the line and really go deep in to see what we value. Does that make sense?
So Pluto went in true sky astrology earlier this year, and you're still going through it, but now you have transformed enough, transmuted, so that you can transcend it to go into what is essential for you. So you said it very succinctly, and you actually have experienced that.
And today the markets crashed. Like the markets crashed.
Today?
Yeah. Like it dropped significantly to a point where like everything, the stock market just kind of went awry.
Well, it may go. I'm not sure.
I'm not today.
I do not predict, but
it's just interesting how it happened today.
Yes.
And then in Japan is making certain choices to try to get themselves out of a mess, but then it impacts the rest of the world. Yeah. So there's just a lot happening right now around this money piece too.
Well, it's going to be because also Uranus, which is a transpersonal planet. But it's very interesting that you say that, because from now until this is why I want to talk about this retrograde, because you got to go in to figure this out. What's happening out here is a reflection of what's going on in here. And the only thing that can be changed out here is how you change your attitude and the way you perceive, how you want to rebirth what's out here. Pluto is about death and rebirth. It's about the phoenix.
So
And yeah, go on.
that crash actually started Friday. Friday was the lowest drop since 2008 and COVID. So they're predicting a complete crash of the markets. They officially called a recession on Friday, and they don't know if we're coming out of it. So it's pretty, you've had 5 banks in China file bankruptcy and actually close. The US has significant money invested in those. So we may be looking at, on one hand, a complete collapse of the way we have been doing business. But like you're saying, it completely opens up a new door for how we wish to do business, because this old system does not work.
Right. It does not. It's crash and burn, man. I mean, just go, because that's what's happening out here. A new world is being born, and everything has to crash down. So it has to totally, it's like a forest fire, goes through, it sweeps and burns everything. But within a short period of time, new growth starts coming up. We are witnessing this, but see, this is why I'm bringing this forth, because you don't panic. You just go inside of yourself and say, what can I do different within myself to hold myself through this? Versus being a victim of it, which is the next thing we're going to go to. Neptune retrograde. Neptune went retrograde, I think during our last PEA, right around that time period. So it would have been, yeah, right around July 4th, July 2nd or something like that. It went retrograde. And I said that it would be retrograde, and it started retrograding at Western astrology at 29 degrees Pisces. Now, it has been in Pisces in Western astrology since 2011, 2012. Neptune is the planet of deception. It's the planet of victimhood. It's a planet of, these are the challenging aspects of it. It's a planet of addiction. It's a planet of not seeing the world as it really is, illusions, delusions, all of that. Anyway, so 2011, 2012, Western astrology, Neptune enters Pisces, and we have this big illusion that things are going to change on December 21st, 2012. The Mayan calendar. We didn't know if we were going to live or die. Some people, I knew we were going to live, but, the whole world was going to change in a twinkling of an eye. Well, it did. But it came through in a different lens than we thought. It started dissolving that nature of victimhood and deception within ourselves, so that as Neptune is entering in Pisces, in true sky astrology, we have the ability to go inside of ourselves and start eliminating outgrown patterns and programs by healing our lineages, our mother's lineage, our father's lineages, our star lineages, all of that. It's going inside of our heart center and embracing our intuition, our inner knowing. And with Neptune retrograde right now in Pisces, in both true sky, and we have the ability to transform so I think the greatest deception is going to be revealed in the next few months that a lot of people have been living by. From now until December, Neptune is going to be in Pisces, the 29th degree, right around then. It's ending in Western astrology, and then it's going to go into Aries. So that is going to be kind of an inkling of where we are going to start something new. And think about, Neptune is about telepathy. How many of us here are telepathic? We are, to a certain extent. We telepathically communicate with the inner worlds, inner space, the Sasquatch, or the star seed, the star lineages, and all of that. Cats, yes. There are, it's all about intuition. But until we totally dissolve any type of deceptive thoughts within ourselves, what would happen if we were telepathic the way we are now and people could read our minds throughout every day? It would be devastating, because sometimes we have thoughts that aren't so great. So until we clean up our inner knowing, until we clear all of that up to thinking in the being impeccable, living life impeccably in all areas, in how we relate and interact in our exchanges, then telepathy can start happening. Now, if you think about it, communication is always outpictured in our outer world. And sure enough, what is the computer? It's technical intelligence, where you press a key and you can be talking to somebody in China, pressing a key and talking to somebody in Colorado, pressing a key and talking to somebody in Vancouver or Washington or wherever you live. We can do that. But that's technological intelligence. What's going to happen when we develop that power within ourselves, and all we have to do is go inside and just have a telepathic conversation with our starseed lineages, with the Sasquatch, with the fairy kingdom, all of that? Just have an instantaneous, clear conversation. That's what Neptune's going to be about. And within probably another 15 years, there will be some people that will be very, very proficient at that. Some of you probably already are now. And you're going to teach people how to do that. But we got to clear up that inner space. We have to become transparent. We have to become harmless. It does not mean you can't be truthful. I mean, people, I have had people tell me the truth about something. They'll say, "Now, don't take this personally," but they tell me the truth, and I'm not. When I know that they're telling me the truth and it's the actual truth and it's not them critiquing me, I take that as a way of growing into myself. It's undergoing deep self-analysis. It's taking our great steps to relate to those beings in the inner worlds of the telluric realm and the extraterrestrials. But I think they're afraid to talk to us because they can read our minds. They know what we're thinking. I just read this book about the dragon tail, and the dragon, it was about the woman who wrote the book, and he knew everything she thought. He even knew her past all the way down to what she inherited from where she was. Because they were impeccable. They come to a layer of truth, and that's where we are going for to become this homo luminous, the new version of being superhuman beings. We have all that within ourselves, in our DNA, but we have to clear the decks from all our old programs, transform that, and become transparent. Okay, two more things. We're going to talk about Uranus. Uranus in both true sky and Western astrology is in the sign of Taurus right now. And across the board, Uranus is always about shattering and changing and unexpected changes. So we, at this time, breaking up outworn structures that devalue us so that we can claim our value system that supports our creative spirit. We are reclaiming our self-worth. And that's by, oh my God, you think you have, okay, you work all your life, you go to college. So in the way that we have been taught, our program to believe, and we go into fields that we've earned, we've been educated for, but it's not our real purpose. It's what we have become in this world of illusion. But there is going to become a time when our value systems are being brought forth that we can actually manifest what we truly desire. And that's what Uranus is doing right now. It's shaking and shattering that. Uranus goes retrograde in September 1st, right around the beginning of September. So we are going to probably, it's going retrograde. So we are going to, everything that is not aligned, if all of us way show, anything that is not aligned to our true purpose on all levels is going to be shattered and taken away. So it's giving us the opportunity to bring in what we really value and appreciate, to bring self-appreciation and self-worth to ourselves. Okay, Saturn's retrograde. I hope I'm not, I know I'm talking about a lot. I hope this is okay. It's just giving you insight about this retrograde of going inside of ourselves so we can reclaim parts of ourselves. So we're transforming through Pluto. We're dissolving and, like, let's see, eliminating outgrowth. We're dissolving anything that's not aligned with our intuition and our inner space and all that kind of stuff. And meditation is a really good way of getting inside yourself to find out about yourself. But it's true meditation because you have to get through that level of the programs before you can, and you have to meditate, for a period of time before you can really get into that inner space that is really, really pure. And that's what we're learning to do right now. And that's why we're going into Saturn. That's what I'm there's a reason why I didn't talk to Saturn, but Saturn is in Pisces in Western astrology. So what we're doing right now is developing a constructive method to trust our inner whisperings, our internal self, and our intuition. Saturn's all about integrity, but it's also putting a plan in place so that we can take a step ladder to where we're going. It's creating a plan to activate so that we can apply this plan to our lives so that we can trust our intuition and our inner whisperings. The way we can do this, several methods. We can do Tai Chi, Qigong, sacred breath meditation or meditation, developing a clean energy field, creating a sacred space to enhance your energy field, and creating a plan to activate any of these into your life. Going within to develop and activate a clean spiritual hygiene. But right now, Saturn in true sky astrology is an Aquarius. And on a very deep level, to achieve this plan that we are putting into place, we are establishing it through the meditation, a way to have a relationship with our inner genius. We have the ability to activate that. So how you are embracing your inner virtues to interact with your friends, your family, and acquaintances. We're going into the Aquarian age. We have to respect each other. And Saturn is, we have to develop a plan to really respect everybody that we interact with, because we are all, through group consciousness, going to the same place together. We're developing a plan so that we don't hoard what is valuable to us. We share. Even though we work for it, when we share, it opens up doors for you to be more than. And that's what the Saturn in Aquarius is. It's developing a plan so that we can develop group consciousness. How are you relating? And Aquarian age is also TI, technical intelligence. How are you relating to that? Is it symbiotic or is it abusive? Some people, I mean, I see people totally hooked to their phones all the time. But are you utilizing this information to enhance you? Or are you abusing this technical information to kind of like break yourself down? How are you honoring your individual and unique qualities in yourself and others? All of us has something unique to the world. And we're when we get in touch with those programs that cover all that up, you know, we'll be on our way. So group consciousness, and we're developing a plan for group consciousness, is the main pathway to become Homo luminous, so that we radiate light as a human being. Each of us have an essential part of the puzzle. That's why we have to work together to create this whole new reality that we are going into. So the next few months, it's all about retrograde. It's all about going inside of yourself. And when you think challenging parts of your life have just stepped forth, just know it's a gateway to a deeper and more refined part of you. That's what we're doing. We're going through refinement. So, do we have any questions? I mean, I'm doing a lot of talking. So, instead of going into a meditation today, I'm going to read you a story. And if you wish, and this story to me is exactly what I was talking to tonight. And the name of the book, Oh, the Places You Will Go, by Dr. Seuss. And the reason I'm reading this is to lighten things up and to know that we are in it. This book is so esoteric. It's ridiculous. And the reason I want to read it is to lighten things up and know that we're all in different places at different times. And, you know, whatever it is. So here we go. Oh, the places you'll go. I got to put on different glasses to read this, though. By Dr. Seuss. And if you just want to close your eyes and listen to the story, or I can show pictures on the way too. So, congratulations. Today is your day. You're off to great places. You're off and away. You have brains in your head and feet in your shoes. You can steer yourself any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know. And you are the guy who'll decide where to go. You'll look up and down streets. Look them over with care. About some you'll say, I don't choose to go there. With your head full of brains and your shoes full of feet, you're too smart to go down just not so good street. And you may not be any you'll want to go down. In that case, of course, you'll head straight out of town. And I'll just hold this up. So we're going out of town here. It's an opener there in the wide open air. I think I'll just read it. It's hard to see these pictures. Out there, things can happen and frequently do to people as brainy and footsy as you. And when things start to happen, don't worry, don't stew. Just go right along. You'll start happening too. Oh, the places you will go. You'll be on your way up, and you'll be seeing great sights. You'll join the high flyers. You'll soar to great heights. You won't lag behind because you'll have the speed. You'll pass the whole gang, and you'll soon take the lead. Wherever you fly, you'll be the best of the best. Wherever you go, you'll top. You'll all the rest. Except when you don't. Because sometimes you won't. I'm sorry to say, but sadly it's true that bang-ups and hang-ups can happen to you. You can get all hung up in a prickly perch, and your gang will fly on, and you'll be left in a lurch. You'll come down from the lurch with an unpleasant bump, and chances are then you'll be in a slump. And when you're in a slump, you're not in for much fun. Unslumping yourself is not easily done. You'll come to a place where the streets are not marked. Some windows are lighted, but mostly they're darkened. A place where you can sprain both your elbow and chin. Do you dare to stay out? Do you dare to go in? How much can you lose? How much can you win? And if you go in, should you turn left or right? Or right and 3/4? Or maybe not quite? Or go around back and sneak in from behind? Simple it's not. I'm afraid that you'll find for a mind making upper to make up your mind. You can get so confused that you'll start into race down long wiggly roads at a breaknecking pace and grind on for miles across weirdish wild space, headed, I fear, towards the most useless place. This is my favorite place. The waiting place. I love this. And we've all been there. For people just waiting for a train to go, or a bus to come, or a plane to go, or the mail to come, or the rain to go, or a phone to ring, or the snow to snow, or waiting around for a yes or no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting. Waiting for a fish to bite, or waiting for the wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for Friday night, or waiting perhaps for their Uncle Jake, or a pot to boil, or a better break, or a string of pearls, or a pair of pants, or a wig with curls, or another chance. Everybody is waiting. No, that's not for you. Somehow you'll escape. All that waiting and staying, you'll find the bright places where the boom bands are playing. I love this term. I'll hold it up. With banner flip-flapping, once more you'll ride high, ready for anything under the sky, ready because you're that kind of guy. Oh, the places you'll go. There is fun to be done, and there are points to be scored. There are games to be won, and magical things you can do with that ball will win you the winningest winner of will make you the winningest winner of all. Fame. You'll be famous as famous can be, with the whole world watching you on a big TV. Except when they don't, because sometimes they won't. I'm afraid that sometimes you'll play lonely games too. Games you can't win because they'll play against you. All alone. Whether you like it or not, alone will be something. You'll be quite a lot. And when you're alone, there's a very good chance you'll meet things that scare you right out of your pants. There are some down the road between hither and yon that can scare you so much you won't want to go on. But on you will go through the weather, though the weather be foul, on you will go, though your enemies krakens howl, onward up many a frightened creek, though your arms may get sore and your sneakers may leak. On and on you will hike, and I know you'll hike far and face up your problems wherever they are. You'll get mixed up, of course, as you already know. You'll get mixed up with many strange birds as you go. So be sure when you step with care and great tact, and remember that life's a great balancing act. Just never forget to be dexterous and deft, and never mix up your right foot with your left. You will succeed. Yes, you will. Indeed. 98 and 1/4% guaranteed. Kid, you'll move mountains. And that's the story. So I think that really sums up everything that we're going through. So whether you're in the waiting place or the scary place or you're up in the hill, whatever it is, just remember, it's all a gift. So the 8/8, as far as I know, would probably be an opening to develop a plan, something that you value and you can manifest for yourself, probably in the next year, for the coming year ahead. And just know it's going to be a lot of inner work from now until the end of the year. It's all about reflection. We have lots of tools to do that. Bye, Joe. Okay. So I guess we're all going to go. So thank
have a
you. Thank
question.
you. Yeah. Oh,
I'm
you
sorry.
have a question. Good.
I love my podcasts. I'm looking, and I don't know, Ray, if you found anything like a good podcast that really dives more into maybe True Sky, or I like the astrological reports.
It's
And
okay.
yeah. So any resources, either Vedic
Yeah,
or
I do.
True Sky?
Let's see. Mastering the MTZ. It's called Mastering the Zodiac. And his name is Athen Athen something or other. Just look up True Sky Astrology, and his name comes up. Mastering the Zodiac. And all you do is you can sign up, and every week he gives he does what's coming up for the week ahead.
Ooh.
But he only does True Sky. And so he
Is this
doesn't
on his
integrate.
website? He emails it like out?
Yeah,
or-
he emails it out. I get it every week. And you don't pay for it. So he's the one I bought the program from, I think. And well, he bought the program and kind of walked me through. But that's all he does is True Sky Sidereal Astrology. And he has a whole area on there where he describes the Vedic and the Western, and how they all, in fact, there's a little, I think, a 5-minute blip about how they all work. So that's on his website as well. So I guess Stacy put that in there. So if anybody wants to copy and paste it and look it up. What I'm doing is I'm just trying to integrate all the programs, and maybe I'm over it's like, well, whatever. So because we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. That's all I know. We're a conglomerate of all of these. So thank you. If there are any more questions, and if they're not, guess we'll sign off here. Thank you so much for being here. And
Thank you, Ray Ellen.
have a great evening, and
Thank
have a
you.
great month. Enjoy Mercury retrograde. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Enjoy it.
Okay, here we go. I'm
Thank
going to turn
you.
this up.